Going on, everybody? It's DotBets. We are checking back in. We got our week 5 on the Dot NFL live show coming at you guys here. Apologize for the video last week. I had some audio issues, so if my audio is echoing or anything like that, let me know in the comments, but it should be fixed on my end. But I went back and rewatched it, and I was just like, ooh, I wouldn't listen to it at all myself. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in once again. A quick update. We will not have a live show next Sunday, but I will have a live Q&A in the Discord for the Sharp Bros Discord. I have a prior obligation for next Sunday, but Saturday, maybe early Sunday morning. I have yet to decide that, but it will be exclusive to the Discord next week, just an FYI. If this is your first time tuning in, appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. It goes a long way to continue to keep doing these videos. And if you guys have not yet, subscribe to the channel. Coming up on 250 subscribers. Pretty cool. All right. We got week 5 here. We absolutely, I think we went like 2-3 last week. Not the sweep we had before, but we're back again. We got a spread pick. We have 3 prop plays, and then our anytime pick to click, which I went a little bit more conservative on that front. So went a little bit more conservative, but I still like the angle there. And you can get all of my plays in the Sharp Bros Discord for, I think, as little as like $7 a week. So we have been absolutely smashing the books this week. Gold plays, which are kind of our high end straight plays or more builder-ish plays. I'm 8-1 in our last 9. Love the community that we've built over at Sharp Bros. And if you guys want to join, hit that link below, and you probably won't regret it. I'll promise you that. And if you guys have any questions before we get going, throw them in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, if you're on X, or if you're watching on Instagram. Make sure you guys are throwing them in the chat. Love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, we'll dive in. We got about 15 to 20 minutes to deep dive and go over these bets here real quick for week 5. We got Zach Holland. What's up, buddy? In the comments on Instagram, Lions first half team total over 16.5. He says, I think that's going to be a stomping, but hear me out. I still think the Bengals will not make it competitive, but at least you can start like Jamar Chase. I think you can still start T. Higgins. You're going to probably still start Chase Brown. I think it's going to be, I would say, a lot more commendable than the other weeks before. You know, just two big daunting defenses. I know the Lions defense is pretty daunting here, but I think there's only one way to go in Cincy, and I think that's going to have some production here from Chase or T. Higgins this week. So, but yeah, I still think it's going to be a stomping though. All right, let's get into our first play this week. There are a couple angles that I'm still deciding on for the gold members here. But this one will not be a gold play, but I do still like it. It's past the key number, which is kind of always my tail here, that I think sharp money is more on our side here. And this is going to be the Seahawks. Seahawks -3.5. You got them -102 over on DK. It's as high juice wise as 110. I've seen 4s posted on Caesar as well. But this comes down to their defense. And I think Seattle's defense is one of the most underrated groups in the NFL, and is one that you should be targeting in fantasy for the late stretch. I know I think they have a bye coming up, but after that, if you can stash them on your bench, they have like one of the easiest remaining schedules for defensive purposes. So if you guys are deep into fantasy, make sure you guys pick those guys up before it's too late. But in this matchup here, you got the Buccaneers who are banged up with Mike Evans. They got a little bit more healthy coming back with Wirfs and Godwin last week. Godwin, I mean, just surprised the entire industry with how efficient he was, and is in his debut. So his snaps will continue to go. I just think that this Seahawks team defensively is going to basically get to Baker Mayfield. And you're probably tuning in. You're probably like, wow, they're gonna get to Baker. He's gonna be on his rush yards again. That is not on the card today. But I could not blame anybody if you wanted to continue to ride that train. But yeah, the Seahawks defensively should be able to take care of business here. If you watched some of that Bucks Eagles game, I think the Bucks got very, very lucky to score. They had a couple fluke plays to Egbuka, a fluke big touchdown by Bucky Irving. And if you're going to make this team one-dimensional, because I think Sean Tucker and Rashad White aren't going to be able to run the football down Seahawks' throat, because the Seahawks defense, run defense, I would put it up there top 5, I would say top 3 in the league. So minus Bucky Irving, a huge aspect there. Make the Bucks one-dimensional. Still have Godwin coming back off of that injury. May not be totally there snap count wise. You're going to rely on Egbuka, who's considered a rookie, but not really playing like a rookie. More fluky plays, and I think it's just a bad spot here for the Bucks, coming off of that defeat there at home against the Eagles, and then having now to go on the road to Seattle. I think it's a very, very bad scheduling spot for the Bucks. So give me the Seahawks. This not coming back down on the key number 3 is my talk as the tail here. So I mean, you could even do an alternate one if you wanted to go like by a touchdown or more, because I really think the Seahawks roll this afternoon. All right, so that is the Seahawks play. That's the spread of the week there. Next one, and shout out to Hall of Fame bets. They are I think they're the place to go. I used to have a lot more affiliations with other data companies, but these guys are very good. So I use code DotBets and you get 50% off and a 7-day free trial. And I don't think you guys would be disappointed here. So let me show you that platform real quick as we pull up our first prop. So we're going to go to the Jets-Cowboys game. And oh my, do I love me some Garrett Wilson today. Probably one of my favorite wide receiver plays of the day. I mean, I don't know how it couldn't be with the fantastic matchup. I've seen a lot of people on his receiving yards, which I can't blame anybody. The Cowboys gave up the most in the entire league. As you can see, 30 seconds overall to the wide receiver position. 32nd, means that they give up the most anytime touchdowns to the wide receiver position. And you've seen 95, 50, 84, and 82. But I'm going to go the reception route. And if you've watched that Monday, I think it was the Monday night game against the Dolphins, I think I was screaming at my TV because they weren't getting Garrett Wilson involved at all, which made absolutely no sense to me. I know Fields, likes to take it himself, but his first read is Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, like one of the top guys in the league off of first read targets, and I don't see that stopping today. I think he gets the ball early and often. I think this is a gift. I think it should be in like the 6.5. So as you can see, 7 against week 1 Steelers, 4 against Buffalo, and then 10 and 6. And then if you go to the targets here, I mean, he's going to get double-digit targets today. 9, 8, 13, 8. And 8 last week was a joke. He should have had more. So if he doesn't get double-digit targets today, Justin Fields should be benched for sure, because it doesn't make any sense. Just feed your top guy. This guy can get open. He's open right when he gets on the line. That's how good of a wide receiver Garrett Wilson is. So take his reception total and don't look back. What we got? So we got Tyrese here. What's up, buddy? He says, how do you feel about Outlier? I actually have not used Outlier. I've used a couple other products, but not Outlier. So I wouldn't be able to speak on it, but I have seen the platform, and not deep diving into it, but the HOF bets, Hall of Fame bets, I think they have the most complete package when it's spreads, totals, just the total research package is what I default to on the Hall of Fame bets. But yeah, so we got Garrett Wilson there. That is the first prop of the day. Love me some Garrett Wilson today. Another wide receiver that I'm on. Some would say he's basically been ass this entire year. And I wouldn't even say that. He's getting opportunities and he just has not cashed in with them. So I have an alternate play with him in the Discord. But I'm gonna go this route with his longest reception, which has been a cash cow this week or this year. Um, and he's gotten targeted pretty heavily, but I'm going to go back to the well here. Jacoby Myers over 22.5 longest reception over on FanDuel. And if you guys can see here on Hall of Fame bets here, 20 plus receptions. I mean, he's got that in 3 of the first 4 games. Last week, he should have had one. I mean, I don't know if anybody watched the Raiders offense there. Geno was targeting him pretty heavily and just would either errant throw for an interception or whatnot. So you always have that factor with Geno coming in, but just the sheer volume. And now Brock Bowers is out or trending towards being out. I don't think he'll play. So it opens it up even more. I know a lot of people have kind of flocked to Trey Tucker, but don't forget about Jacoby Myers here. And all this takes, obviously, is one play, which he could easily get. And Geno's going to air it out as much as they want. And then this Indy defense has been pretty receptive to being a team you can throw on. And they just had offensive line issues with one of their best offensive linemen going down. I think they're going to be more of a negative game script, and Jacoby Myers comes into play here with the longest reception. Obviously you've gotten 24, 25, 45, and then a 10 last week. But if you guys see his targets have been there all year. 10, 12, 4 was a little bit of an outlier there, but 7, I would say 7 to 8 is more of his target range of what you're going to see out of Jacoby. And if you've seen the longest reception here, and then you can come down and see the longest reception here to all of the receivers who've played against that Indy defense: 31, 42 for Franklin, 41 for Brian Thomas. So, I mean, you had 11, and then you had Tutu had that big play against this Colts defense, 21 by Tyreek. So this Colts defense is definitely susceptible to a big play. So like Jacoby there this afternoon. All right, we got, because I was trying to pick between the two. Yeah, like I said, I've not had anything with outlier, but I would definitely prefer. And I know maybe I'm biased because I'm obviously I've used it a lot more, but I just think the plethora of data that you can find on Hall of Fame bets, NFL, college football, MLB, WNBA, soccer, NBA is coming up in a couple weeks, NHL, and then college basketball. So, I mean, it's got all the sports. I know some of them are pretty limited on what they provide, but they have the wide range of everything. All right, enough plugging them. All right, so let's get to our third prop. And I was kind of back and forth between this one. I didn't know if I was going to go between a couple other running backs, but I went with this running back instead. And basically, it goes back to the original question with Lions first half team total. I think you're going to see this Lions team take over today. And usually in those game scripts, you have the two-headed monster, Gibbs and Montgomery, both do well. But if it's a close game, negative game script, it tends to lean towards Jahmyr Gibbs. So 10.5 point favorites. I lean on here for David Montgomery to get after today. So David Montgomery, we are going to go back to the well here. Not his longest reception, but we're going to go to his rush yards. fantastic matchup. Once again, the Bengals are literally Swiss cheese with their defense gives up the second most in the league rush yards. And if you've seen this Lions team play, you have the first week against Green Bay, negative game script. You did not have much of Montgomery whatsoever. Second week, you have the Bears, absolutely more of a blowout, and Montgomery got it. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, you had Baltimore absolutely ran it down their throats, 151 yards. But last week, not much of it was kind of a back and forth match there with the Browns, and the Browns' run defense obviously is very stout. You're watching it right now with Jordan Mason getting bottled up. But so now we go back to 10.5 point spread. You have two guys that will be shoving it down the Bengals' throats today. So let's not overthink this one. Let's not go with Gibbs, who's 70 or 80 rush yards. Let's go with the 1B here, David Montgomery, over 53.5 rush yards. And if you scroll down here, you can see RB1s against them. You got RB2s against them, like RJ Harvey last week still had 58. You've gotten that's Xavier Scott, Tootin, Sampson. They've gotten up into the 40s. So, and then they've given up 100 plus the last 2 weeks to Mason and J.K. Dobbins. So it's a team you can just absolutely get up on, run it down their throats, and call it good. So definitely good with David Montgomery over 53.5. If this got any higher, maybe towards the 60s, I'd probably stay away, but I think 53.5 is very doable, as it's already done it 2 out of the 4 games. But those 2 games, like I said, tend to favor more of the Montgomery script here. All right. So we got Seahawks, Garrett Wilson over 5.5 receptions, Myers over 22.5 longest reception, David Montgomery rush yards over. And then we are going to go with the pick to click touchdown player. And Nico, it did me dirty last week. We had, it was 4 out of the 5, and he was the 5th one. Cost me about $1,300. And I wouldn't blame anybody for going back to the well there with Nico, because he's in a fantastic matchup. So totally fine with going back to it. But not for the stream. Not for the stream. I want to get a dub for the stream here. And we are going to go with the man who is taken over in New York. And it's more juice than I normally take on stream, but I want to get us a dub. Cam Scatabo minus 125. And if you come back here to the Hall of Fame bets app, anytime touchdowns versus this New Orleans team, I think they've given up 1 to every running back that they've played this year. Yep. Connor McCaffrey, Walker's got 2, and then James Cook has 1. And if you've seen Cam Scatabo play, he is a shot in the arm for this offense. Jackson Dart and him will feed off each other. I hope Dart just doesn't take it again like he did last week. That is my only concern here. And Dart's like plus 220 if you want to take that. I might put it together a quarterback touchdown lay for the Discord, because there are some pretty good quarterbacks to score this week. But ultimately here, Cam Scatabo should be able to get in 4 straight weeks for this New Orleans team. And you're just going to see, if you've seen his rush attempts, so red zone carries, I mean, which is insane. He's got to probably lead the league in red zone carries right now. 5 in week 2, 6 last week against the Chargers, which somehow he didn't score, which is weird. And then just the carries in general. I mean, he had 25 carries last week, and Tracy's out once again. This guy is just going to be, and he's been electric, and he can catch the football out of the backfield too. So you have different ways that they can get him involved. Love Scatabo today to dive in to the end zone and do his traditional, his actual move now is the backflip there. So I don't know if he did that at Arizona State. So if he did, let me know. But it's pretty, it's going to be iconic there for the New York media there. All right, we got a question here. What's up, Corey? Hurting at wide receiver 3, PPR. Hollywood, Troy Franklin, or A.O. Manor. I think I always say that wrong. Oh man, that's tough. Definitely no Hollywood because of Xavier Worthy coming back, and I think he's basically phased out at this point. I think Worthy and that Brashard Smith and Thornton have just kind of taken over that Chiefs team. I tend to favor here Troy Franklin. I do like A.O. Manor. He's actually on my bench in my fantasy league. Just I'm not going to play him over the 4 receivers that I play, but I still like him. I know if Calvin was out today, I think he's trending towards playing. I would have played A.O. Manor, but Franklin, I'll bring up his snaps and targets or whatnot here on this Hall of Fame bets here. I still think he's viable start because but I mean solid yardage, but you have basically his targets have been there. I mean, I don't know what the heck, that's probably 10. So 6, 10, 4, and 8. So you've seen his target share usage be totally fine there. And actually, I'm going to bring that up. So let's go to this Broncos Eagles game here. And you can come down here to the usage chart if it loads up. But you got targets and overall usage for the Broncos. So he's still got a 12% target share, and it's only going to rise. And the other part of this is you have Quinyon Mitchell for the Eagles, probably going to shadow Cortland Sutton. So I think Troy Franklin could be in for a pretty good game here. So I would definitely tend to lean there on Troy Franklin if you had to. So that means take Hollywood and take A.O. Manor for a touchdown, just in case in a parlay. You might as well. But no, I think Troy Franklin's the play there. All right. Appreciate you all tuning in. We will get back to our winning ways here. We got the Seahawks. We got Garrett Wilson over 5.5 reception. We got Jacoby over 22.5 longest reception. Montgomery, we got over 53.5 rush yards. And then Scatterbo, I don't know how he says it really, minus 125 to get into the end zone on, I think it's minus 130 on FanDuel, which I'm totally fine with as well. All right. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let's continue to cash. Like I said, next week, we will not have a live stream. It'll be live in the Discord. I have a prior obligation Sunday morning, so I won't be able to do the show, but it will be live in the Discord. So make sure hit the Discord link below, join. You will not be disappointed. We have 5 of the best cappers in the industry giving you all of our picks. So appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's cash. See you guys.